AI cannot replace humans. In December 2024, Klarna, like many other tech companies, went all in on AI, which meant when its CEO said this,
I am of the opinion that AI can already do all of the jobs that we as humans do.
He wasn't kidding. By that point, his company had already frozen all hiring, betting its AI chatbot could replace the work of 700 customer service agents. But just a half a year later, he was walking back his statements and trying to bring humans back. Even though Klarna got the most attention, they were far from being the only company falling short on the AI promise. So why, if replacing humans with AI hurt seemingly everyone, why did so many companies try? And now that they have failed, does that mean our jobs are safe? Or is AI gonna have a comeback? Okay, let's take a wider view of what's going on here by going back to this diagram of Klarna's workforce, which was around 4,500 people before the AI. The theory went like this. Let the headcount naturally shrink at its normal turnover rate of about 20% a year, stop hiring to replace anyone who leaves, and let the AI take over the work. And the AI taking over that work was a chatbot Klarna built with OpenAI. In its first month, it handled 2.3 million customer conversations, matched the satisfaction scores of human agents, and actually resolved the issues around 9 minutes faster. But from there, the story gets a little more confusing, because even though they had the AI up and running and even estimated it would improve their profits by $40 million, they suddenly did a complete 180 and started rehiring humans. But why? Well, let's say you are shopping online and you pay for something using Klarna, but when it shows up at your door, the package is completely damaged. Naturally, you are pissed off and you want your money back, so you head to their support to dispute the charge. But instead of a human, you are greeted by the notorious service chatbot, a bot that's not only giving you wrong answers and referencing fake corporate policies, but is also generating straight-up nonsense in about 5% of its conversations. Unsurprisingly, consumer satisfaction fell off a cliff, and to fix all this mess, Klarna is rehiring humans. And as it turns out, all these other companies are experiencing pretty much the same issue. A Gartner survey predicts about a half of them who replaced humans with AI will end up rehiring them in some form by 2027. So, it appears we have plenty of room for optimism, at least for customer-facing roles, but maybe we can just pin this failure on timing. After all, this current AI boom has only been in the zeitgeist for a year or two? So what about a job where AI has had almost an entire decade to prove itself? Do you know anything about radiologists?
Let me start by just saying a few things that seem obvious. People should stop training radiologists now. It's just completely obvious that within 5 years, deep learning is going to do better than radiologists.
That's Geoffrey Hinton, often called the godfather of AI. And that prediction you just heard, he made it back in 2016. Since then, Hinton has written some of the most influential research papers on deep learning and even won a Nobel Prize for his work on neural networks. And yet, despite all that brilliance, a full decade later, his prediction is nowhere close to reality. As of 2026, we have a lot more radiology jobs than when he made that statement. And the trainee positions that Hinton said would be completely unnecessary, those are actually up by 4%. So last year, when the New York Times asked him to revisit his claim, Hinton had to walk it back. But he didn't shy away from laying down a new prediction, claiming that AI and radiologists teaming up will just make the field more efficient, instead of obsolete. And when we look at the numbers, this prediction is actually coming true. You can see exactly how this is playing out by looking at this chart, which tracks the massive explosion of AI-enabled medical devices entering hospitals, which kinda tells us something very similar to this diagram. All these fears about AI mass unemployment don't really seem to be grounded in reality. Mostly because AI on its own just isn't good enough. But humans armed with AI tools are a different story. And ironically, the people with the most to fear right now are the very people building them, although not the only ones. Here's a headline you've probably seen absolutely everywhere lately. A generic version of it usually goes something like AI will skyrocket productivity but wipe out X million jobs worldwide. What's true is an increasing number of people are using AI tools every single day. And that goes for coding as well as simpler tasks we all use it for, like drafting emails and summarizing text and taking notes. However, when it comes to actual measurable productivity gains from all of this, the picture gets a little more complicated. In fact, a 2025 report even suggested that for software developers, productivity actually dropped by 20%. Now, to be fair, I have to point out this specific study I'm talking about is a bit controversial, mostly because A, it's only looked at 16 developers, which is a tiny sample size, and B, all of them had moderate AI experience. But since then, larger studies have been a bit more generous, showing an actual net productivity gain of around 15 to 20%, which is decent, but definitely not the skyrocketing breakthrough every AI CEO keeps promising. Despite those steady numbers, if we look at the actual breakdown of software engineering jobs, something weird is happening. 3 years ago, junior developers made up a healthy 15% of all new hires. But look at this breakdown today. Did you catch that? The entry-level slice has been crushed down to just 7%. And here's where AI becomes a real problem. These people right here, the entry-level folks, they are the real losers of AI adoption. But what makes it even more dramatic is just how widespread this trend has become. A recent study from Stanford found entry-level hiring is down 16% across every job exposed to AI. So it's not just software developers, it's also accountants and lawyers and data analysts and a whole lot more. To answer the big question of this video, should you worry about AI taking your job? Not right now, and not if you already have one, but you should definitely keep an eye on the people who use AI to become more productive, and you should be genuinely concerned about the companies who still think AI can do your job entirely. Because if that keeps happening, you might one day be the person who drives through McDonald's to grab a Big Mac and ends up with an ice cream instead. Which, by the way, is yet another real story of AI replacing humans. Lastly, have you heard that tech giants are launching data centers into space? If not, you'd better watch this video next.